Glenn Clark Radio, talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
These guys kept so much faith in the Lord, and also in each other, and the process, and being a team and sticking together, and handling all the arrows and slings that get tossed your way when you're struggling. By no means does this mean that things are over. By no means have we accomplished anything close to what we want to accomplish. But this was a really important game for our team. This is really a big game. And Thursday is really a big game for our team, too. And our guys are keenly aware of that. And they'll turn it around tomorrow, and they'll be ready to get to work on the Dolphins down there. So, but I can't emphasize enough how proud I am of the players and the coaches and everybody involved. I thought our defensive coaches had a great game plan. It was excellent. It was executed in an excellent way by the players throughout the game. And the offensive coaches had a great game plan. I thought his play calling was just incredible, on point, really effective. And then, of course, you can talk about all the players, but we'll start with Tyler Huntley right here. I mean, the way he played that game, 116-plus quarterback rating, ran the offense, ran the ball, completed passes, just kept great poise in critical moments, finished the game, the critical drive at the end of the game. I don't think you play any better than that. That was one of those all-time great performances, man. I'm so proud of you. We'll talk about the phone call sometime. But he did it, and the team did it. So with that, what questions do you have?
That was, of course, Ravens head coach John Harbaugh yesterday following a 30-16 win over the Bears that, at least for now, saves the Ravens' season. Good morning. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio, and a lot to discuss on a Monday edition of the program. Obviously, we'll talk plenty about the Ravens' victory, and the Orioles appear to have a manager. One that we had no idea was even in the mix. Such is life. We'll find out a little bit more about Craig Albernaz coming up a bit later on in the program. Andre Knott, Guardians in-game reporter, will join us to tell us more about the reported new skipper of the Birds. I guess we'll have to go through the silliness of waiting because they're not allowed to make an announcement during the World Series. Very, very goofy how this all goes.
So they have to wait till Thursday? Is that like they have to wait for the next off day in the World Series?
I don't know, man.
You're Mr. Sports.
No, look, man. It used to be that you didn't even let this once the World Series started, this type of stuff wasn't even supposed to come out. My guess is.
I guess Passan doesn't give a S about.
I don't
the
think
World Series.
I don't think it's Jeff Passan. The problem. Somebody would say, "Well, you couldn't have done this on Thursday." Whatever. The moral of the story is the Orioles appear to have their manager, but we have to wait in limbo and pretend. It's more awkward because tomorrow night I'll be on WBAL, and over there, you have to be very careful on how you say it. You have to be you can't say it's the Orioles' next manager. You have to say the reported next manager of the Orioles.
Well, that's what you have to say over here, too.
No, we can get away with things that you can't get away with other places. Look, we'll start with the Ravens. Thank you to all of you who joined us for Project Game Day following the game. It was pleasant, which it had been a long time. Although Ken was trying to get under my skin early on. He was trying to. We do it every game day. We'll be with you late night Thursday night after Ravens-Dolphins. Come hang with us.
As long as they win.
PressBoxOnline.com/gameday. No matter what happens. It's all brought to you by Game Day Men's Health, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org, the Costas Inn and Live Casino and Hotel. And this was, to me, miraculous. It was, and I don't want to take anything away from any of the nice things that John Harbaugh said. Oh, what a game plan! Yeah. I mean, I guess. I guess. I did like Tyler Huntley moving. That part obviously seems to be an upgrade over Cooper Rush. And yes, Tyler Huntley had the best. This is the problem. We
all-time performers
react to these things. Tyler Huntley threw for 180 yards.
186.
Thank you. He made some of the best throws we have ever seen him make. But the bar is very low. Very low. He did everything the Ravens needed him to do. We'll get to it when we get the pats on the ass in order to win the game yesterday. But I pray that you never have to put Tyler Huntley on a field again. Pray. We always get caught in the moment. As my friend Chad Dukes always said, it's goat or trash. There's no nuance in between. Tyler Huntley did what the Ravens needed to do yesterday, but not one of us were feeling good in the second half when we realized the Ravens would probably need to score more points. And we do run the risk of sort of losing the plot. Things were starting to go the wrong way, and thankfully the defense stepped up and made a play. And if you want something that's, to me, projectable, nothing about Todd Monken or Tyler Huntley or any. To me, the projectable part, I don't suddenly think that the Ravens have solved their offensive line problems. I do think it helps to have Pat Ricard on the field. A lot. The biggest takeaway to me is that the defense got a little bit of pressure and got a turnover. And those two things, if you can keep doing those, can make you at least a good enough defense with Lamar Jackson on the field. But you got to keep doing them. And the truth is, as I dove in, numbers weren't as great as I thought they were pressure-wise. Next Gen Stats not quite as kind to the Ravens. But that being said, I'll trade off consistent pressure for making big plays. And as we know, the Ravens made big plays. Yes, only one of them went down as a sack. But as I said on the postgame show, to me, both of those intentional groundings were the obvious. One was Kyle Hamilton, the other was Kyle Van Noy. And both of them were because of the pressure. And so to me, intentional groundings created by pressures, those are sacks. It works the exact same way. You lose the down, you lose the yardage, that's a sack. So it's 3 to me. You get that? I'll live with the fact that it wasn't consistent pressure throughout the course of the game. I don't know what it means for Mike Green moving forward that he got a sack. That particular ball, Caleb Williams definitely held on to a little bit too long. But he held on to it a little bit too long because it was third down and because the sack wasn't going to be the difference in, whether or not they were going to be outside of field goal range. He was trying to buy time to keep a drive alive. You still need to finish that play, and Mike Green did. It wasn't consistent pressure. We're going to overreact. One sack from Mike Green is good. And hopefully it's a sign of things to come. Hopefully it means he'll be able to get some consistent pressure moving forward. But I got to be fair. It wasn't consistent pressure from Mike Green throughout the course of the game. It was one sack. You'll take it. Do I suddenly think that Zach Orr has solved things? I don't know. You can only react to what you see in front of you. What I have in front of me is 6 games of bad, 1 game of pretty good. I'll take it for now. For now, I'll take it. I don't think that everything's solved. I don't think that suddenly we're all going to do the same thing. Again, I'll write about it today at PressBoxOnline.com. 2 days ago, the city was burning. Lamar Jackson's not playing. They're going to fall to 1-6. The season's going to be over. Get rid of everybody. The whole thing. Today, the Ravens are once again the betting favorites to win the AFC North and actually control their own destiny to win the AFC North, which is a wild thing to say about a 2-5 team. But they've got both their games reigning with the Steelers. They win out. That would include 2 wins over the Steelers. No matter what they control their own destiny. It's way too early to worry about that, but that's where we are. Today, everything's fine because they won a football game. Earl Weaver said momentum was as good as your next day's starting pitcher. In football, momentum is as good as whatever you did the last time you played. And they won. They won. That's what matters. They won. They won. They needed to. Somehow, some way, they did. Do they look like a team that can go compete to win a Super Bowl? No. We're not thinking about that right now. We're just thinking about, can the season be saved? Will it be worth watching football in late November and December? And yesterday gave us a chance that it will be. But they need to get better. That will start, of course, with Lamar Jackson getting on the field. Obviously, they'll be better. They were certainly better for having Roquan Smith back on the field yesterday. As much as we struggled with Roquan Smith, you got the better version of Roquan yesterday. You hope that you'll get more of that. It's a weird feeling. I'm not jubilant about the Ravens' performance. I don't think it was proof that they... Right now, I think they saved their season. It's better than losing, and hopefully in the coming weeks you'll see a better version. Maybe it's enough, and in particular if they were to go to Miami and win on Thursday, maybe it's enough to justify making some sort of bold swing at the trade deadline, which, is next week. This is it. This is your last chance. And it's quite possible that at 1-5, the organization decided they were going to let the next 2 weeks play out and say, let's see where we are. Because if we're 2-6, if we're 1-7, there is no need for us to be trading away draft picks. But if we win both games, get back to 3-5, and particularly given what the other teams in the division did this weekend, maybe that's enough for them to say, okay, let's do something. Now, what that something is remains to be seen. This is, I believe, the 17th consecutive year that we had hoped that Max Crosby would be traded, and Max Crosby, again, apparently will not be traded. So if it's not him, I don't know what it is. The other names are never that appealing. You start getting into that, does that really make a difference type of territory? I don't know where the Giants will be with Kayvon Thibodeau after they lost yesterday. I don't know if suddenly the kind of the comeback to earth that they've experienced the last couple of weeks will make them, and obviously it's awful that Cam Scadaboo got hurt. That sucks, man. That guy was becoming one of the more watchable players in the NFL. That sucks. And they're always going to shove the New York market down your throats anyway, so at least you'd like that to be watchable. It sucks. But I don't know if that, the reality of that makes them reconsider. I mean, Brian Dable was trying to save his job, so that's still a tough thing to do, to trade away. I don't know. Even the Dolphins won a game yesterday, so I don't know where they're going to be. I don't know if all of a sudden they think they could put something together.
Does Thibodeau have 1 year left on his contract, or is he?
I think this was it. I don't remember off the top of my head. This is the problem. I just don't know what the reality is of what's going to be available. But maybe that's what they needed. They win that yesterday. They win on Thursday. That fortifies them to try to make a move. Or perhaps the answer really is like a defensive lineman. It's not an edge. And then, again, you damn well better get something out of Mike Green. Something.
They did pick up his 5th-year option, so he's got 1 year left.
But they also went out and got Abdul Carter. I mean,
they're Brian Burns.
They're in a tough spot there. Look, man, we'll see. They won yesterday. I keep saying it. They won. That matters. That's kind of all that matters at the moment. All the other stuff we can deal with down the road. Hopefully, yesterday was a sign that they do intend to use more Keaton Mitchell. Why it took so long to get there, don't know. Frustrating. But it worked. Like, it seems like having explosive playmakers is a good thing. What do I know? They still didn't even give him the ball that much yesterday. It was just nice to see him get the ball at all. Those are all the things that kind of jump off the page at me. And yeah, Tyler Huntley was better than we had ever seen him before. I hope he never has to play again. I pray he never has to play again. Those of you that are like, well, I don't know. Ken was doing this yesterday. I don't think I'd feel all that bad if he had to play on Thursday night. Yeah, I would. I got one game of evidence of him playing good football. I am not suddenly going crazy with that and thinking that that means that he could win multiple games or that none of those things. But take what you got. Get me your pats on the ass. We haven't done it in a long time, but we're doing it again today. Don't forget, your list has to include 2 offensive players, 2 defensive players. The 5th can be whoever you like. Get him in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio, and at Glenn Clark Radio on Blue Sky as well. Our next guest was, of course, on the sideline yesterday for CBS as the Ravens did get out of their losing funk. He, of course, one of our favorites, our buddy, Mr. Evan Washburn, back with us now here on GCR. Evan, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing well, Glenn. How are you?
I'm all right. I mean, obviously, it's a more pleasant Monday than many of the ones that we've had around here in recent
Yeah,
weeks.
that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Evan, I don't want to overreact to it. I don't think I come out of yesterday saying, oh, this is proof the Ravens can get right back to being a Super Bowl contender. But, like what John Harbaugh said afterwards is the truth. They desperately needed to win that football game. Like, this really was kind of the end of the road. And given everything they had been through, maybe they knew the whole time Lamar wasn't going to play, but all of that, this was a massively important win if we only look at it in the vacuum.
Absolutely. And we don't have to make the determination if they're going to go on a run right now, but if they are going to go on a run, they had to win that game. I mean, I was really steadfast in the idea that no 1-6 team is making a run, no matter how up and down the AFC North is this year. So the fact they got that win, it felt like an old school Ravens win. Mm-hmm. Defense led the way for the most part. The quarterback, in this case it was Tyler Huntley, did enough. They ran the ball decently well. It was ugly. It wasn't that entertaining. And then all of a sudden they control it. They didn't make the big mistake. The Chicago Bears did. Yep. And they won. And I think that formula, if it's with Lamar under center or Snoop under center, whoever's playing, I think it's a good one as they find their sea legs as a winning football team. As crazy as that sounds, based off of what they've done the last 4 or 5 seasons.
I am in this weird place where I think the defense was better, right? And then we can all say it had to be better. The bar was very low from where they had been at the early point of the season. The pressure wasn't consistent, but they got both a sack and 2 intentional groundings that are as good as sacks. To me, if that's either the starting point and they're finding a rhythm and getting better, or in a world in which you get Lamar Jackson back, Evan, that might be all you just can't be awful defensively, which is where they were at the start of the season.
Yeah, they didn't have any massive breakdowns in the back end. Roma Dunze made some plays. He's really good, so that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to get consistent pressure all season when you don't have Tavius Robinson and you trade away Hadafe, as up and down as he was as a player. I mean, they just don't have the bodies to do it. Not having Matabike up the middle, plowing through the center of a pocket to create some of those easy pass rush lanes. I mean, these are just the realities. But I think they, as you pointed out, got what they needed out of it. They made Caleb have to think more. They covered really well. I thought the corners were great in that game, from Wiggins to Awuzie to Marlon making plays, and obviously Kyle all over the field. The Gilman trade is, I think, a really big one. We touched on it. We probably didn't talk about it enough in the broadcast, just what he allows them to do in so many facets defensively. So, yeah, I think it was a game that I walked away from saying, okay, Baltimore still deserves to be discussed as a potential playoff team. They've earned that for another game, and now we'll see what they do Thursday.
I'm so glad you brought that up about Gilman, because you see with Kyle Hamilton making a play in the backfield, this is the losing Ardarius Washington really hurt them, and they needed that other body. I do think it makes a significant difference to them defensively that they want to be able to do other things with Kyle Hamilton, and they weren't able to do that early on this season.
He's their best player on defense. He would be their best player on the team if Lamar Jackson wasn't their quarterback. And I think Derrick Henry's great, but I think right now you've got Kyle Hamilton approaching the prime of his career. So, yes, the more that you can use him as the chess piece that they did, and he made so many cool plays in that game, both that jumped off the screen, I imagine, or to the folks in the building, but also just like the little things. I mean, he stalks the line of scrimmage in a way that if I was the opposing quarterback, I'd be fearful of what is he doing, because he just looks like a praying mantis that is ready to pounce on whatever vulnerability you have.
It's probably unfair to compare him to Troy Polamalu in that way, because Troy Polamalu, is one of the greatest safeties of all time. But you get that feeling when you watch him, the way that Troy Polamalu would stalk the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean he's on the early stages of it. Now
Right.
It's about what he does for the next 10 years, basically.
No doubt, no doubt. Evan Washburn with us here on GCR. Evan, all that said, do you feel like they needed to get a result, probably still need to get another result? When we talk about not having the bodies to go get consistent pressure, I think a lot of people were wondering if it was even worth the Ravens being active at the trade deadline, given where they were record-wise. If they get the 3-5, if they go to Miami and win, and to the point, like looking around at where the division is, do you feel like that's enough for them to say, okay, we'll do whatever we can? And I don't know what's going to be out there, because we all think the Dolphins are probably going to be trading edge rushers. But they looked really good yesterday. I don't know what might be there, but do you feel like they needed internally to see a win or two and to say, hey, we need to know that we're not going to be sitting at 1-7 and just wasting future draft picks if we try to make a move at the deadline?
Well, I'm sure that was part of it and will continue to be part of it, because as much as this is a win-now team and organization, they're not reckless, and they're not going to be irresponsible with draft equity that they take so much pride in utilizing and basically compiling, so that they go into every draft with as much ammunition as possible to move around. So I don't see that being something that they're just going to, even if they start winning a few games here ahead of the deadline, I don't see them doing anything crazy. I mean, you mentioned Miami. That's a good point, just who they have and what would they be willing to part with. I mean, I think everyone wants Jeffrey Simmons, but it sounds like the Titans either are just being public. It's going to take a whole lot to get him. But, man, he would fit in nicely, especially if Namdi's unfortunately in a situation where at least, no one knows, but it doesn't sound good.
Right.
So to have that kind of like generational interior pass rusher would be kind of nice.
Boy, would it. It would be very, very nice. Evan, you guys do the meetings, and obviously you're around this team, more than most, and you know these guys a little bit better than your average, sideline reporter would. What did you make of everything that was going on last week? I never thought that any of it was as dramatic as people were making it out to be. I thought the ping pong table stuff was borderline hilarious, like the way that we were reacting to it. But, guys were, like Todd Monken was in the crosshairs in a few of these reports. In having these conversations, did it feel to you like there was as much turmoil internally as it feels like people might expect there would be based on some of the stories that were written last week?
Not at all. And two things, Glenn, I would say. One, I think fans and media get this, especially those that are there day to day. I really respect the hell out of that job and the beat that the work that's required to really cover a beat, whether it's NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, whatever it is. Pro buildings are tense. They're tense environments because of just what's on the line, from a livelihood, the amount of money that's being paid out to athletes, to coaches, how you can lose your job based off of a bad season, a bad stretch of games. If you're a fringe player, a bad play in practice can be the end of your career with a team. So buildings are tense. They're joyful after wins. You see that in those locker room speeches, but they're tense. And I think sometimes tense gets confused with, to use your term, turmoil. Mm-hmm. That's not to say there's not been cases in pro sports where buildings have been toxic, but I think it takes a lot to go there. And I think if you try to equate the work environment of a pro sports building to that of your corporate America or your generic 9-to-5, then yeah, it would seem like, man, this is a there's a lot of turmoil here. Where I view it more as that's just kind of how these buildings operate. Yes, I think that the whole locker room, ping pong, whatever, I think that's all too silly. I mean, it just, to me, it's fun to consume in terms of content, and I respect the fact that that is worthy of being a story, but I don't think it impacts the way coaches coach and players play, if that makes sense.
No, Evan, I always say this, and I think you and I talked about it after the Kansas City game when everybody was trying to be a body language expert. Losing sucks. Nobody's having fun when you're losing. It's unpleasant, and it does lead to frustration. But, yeah, to the point, like, does that mean that it can't be overcome? I joked about it earlier today. Earl Weaver said that in baseball, momentum was as good as your starting pitcher. In football, to me, momentum is literally as good as whatever your last result was. Like, that defines the way that it feels like in the building. You talk about it. You were there every day years ago with the Ravens. I've been there every day with the Ravens. Like, everything was based around what happened the last time. Like, that was everybody's opinion, was that they could be a good football team. They lose a game, and nobody's happy. Nobody's walking around having a fun time. When you lose 4 straight games, it's probably not going to be fun necessarily. But, yeah, I do think there's a massive difference between that and this is untenable. The defense was untenable for a little bit. Like, they were not going to be able to win with the defense playing the way that it was. But I don't
think so much of this, Glenn, too, is unprecedented for this area, obviously for the team and those that have been a part of it for the last, let's call it the Harbaugh era, so the last 17, 18 seasons, whatever it is. And I think, and this is where I would maybe defer more to you, but I feel like as someone who lives in the area but also is consuming the content more rigorously when I'm doing their game. So this week, for example, I've got Colts, Pittsburgh. I'm not going to be following everything that's happening with Baltimore on a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
It has felt this year like people are not excited, but finding interest in doing something that they haven't been able to do in terms of coverage because it's never existed. So there are more opportunities to pile on, to find the fault, to find the anonymous, to find the thing that's gone wrong. And I acknowledge that is also part of just the general reality show that is pro sports, that's why the Jets often have the stories that, some of these teams that don't play well often have the stories that surround the things that aren't really in between the lines.
I think all that's fair, honestly, Evan. I think it's completely fair. And I do think there is a general interest in, hey, how did we go from thinking that this team was the best roster in football to being 1-5? And I do think there were questions that needed to be answered about that. But, sometimes the answer is far more simplistic, right? Like, if Lamar Jackson had played the 2 weeks before, they're probably sitting at 3-3, not feeling great, but certainly being in good enough shape, and there wouldn't be panic necessarily within the city is the reality. And that's kind of boring, but that's probably the reality of it. What'd you make of Tyler Huntley yesterday? It was clearly to me his best performance, certainly as a Raven. I'm not suddenly suggesting that I think it would be great if Tyler Huntley had to play more frequently. Hopefully he does not. But I acknowledge, as someone who's been down on Tyler Huntley, he looked different just as a thrower of the football to me yesterday.
Couldn't agree with you more. And it was so fun to be a part of in terms of coverage because he's a great guy. I mean, seemingly, I don't know him that well, but every time you interact with him, you walk away going, man, that was fun. He's a lovely dude. And I think this, and I think people were very curious, including my broadcast partners in terms of Ian and JJ. Why did they sign Cooper Rush in the offseason? Somebody that would appear to be so different than Lamar in terms of play style. And then when Tyler Huntley was back available, or at least back on the roster, that, man, he does sort of what Lamar does, obviously not even close to that level, but that seems like a more appropriate backup. Obviously, he'd done the job before.
Right.
And I think people that don't live here, don't live down to down with this team in terms of fans, media, and obviously most importantly, the coaches and people in that building, front office, like, it was a roller coaster with Tyler his first go around. He had some highs, but man, there were some lows, and we touched on it in the broadcast, and no bigger low than that playoff game. And I think this is my opinion. I think that stuck with people a lot more than maybe those that are thinking, well, this seemed so easy. Why wasn't he just a backup all year? Like, that stuff's real. Like, he had to earn back, I think, Tyler, the trust of the decision makers with this team. And I think he did that in a big way yesterday. And even Harbaugh in our meeting on Friday, talking about Huntley, was saying how much he had matured, having been away from the building, time with the Dolphins, away from the league. I mean, he was on his couch in the spring. Nobody signed him. And when he'd come back, and then obviously he touched on it in his post-game presser about Tex and Harbs and their conversation in August. Like, this is a different guy, and a guy that I think really appreciates where he is. And whenever he gets his opportunity, like he did yesterday, he's not going to be reckless with it. And I think that was the biggest thing he did for that team yesterday. He made a few plays when he had to, but most importantly, he didn't lose the game. And that's really what a backup quarterback is in this league. Got to make a couple throws, couple plays, and don't make any big mistakes.
Yeah, more than anything, manage the game. No doubt. He did exactly that. All right, you said you got Pittsburgh, Indianapolis next. We have been reluctant to acknowledge the idea that the Colts are a viable Super Bowl contender. Are we at the point where we're deep enough in the season that we have to start doing that now?
I would say yes. I had them in L.A. 2 weeks ago against the Chargers. The offense is Super Bowl caliber by far. I shouldn't say by far, but is Super Bowl caliber. They are right there with Buffalo, whatever Kansas City is in big moments. I think offensively they can go toe-to-toe. The Daniel Jones thing is a really cool story. He is definitely a different quarterback, but the real engine of it all is Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he is Saquon in a quieter city and less cool marketing around him. Not to say Saquon didn't deserve everything, but he's, Jonathan is just as good in my mind in terms of the player on the field. Like, he is a absolute difference maker. So offensively, Glenn, yes, they are a Super Bowl team. The defense is I would say, the vulnerability, largely because similar to what Baltimore's dealing with. I mean, injuries have been bad. Like, their secondary's been ravaged. It goes back to their joint practices with the Ravens, where they lost their top pick on that side of the ball, and he was going to be a starter. And they've just kind of been hit hard there. So they're an active team at the trade deadline, I would imagine, defensively. But I've really walked away from my Colts experience going, all right, they are right there in my mind with Buffalo, with Kansas City, with the rest of the top of the AFC, beyond just what their record says.
You got any tips for me? You have to work a lot of cold environments. I did Cub Scout camping with my my 8-year-old at. Now, to be fair, we weren't in the woods. We were at Padonia Swim Club on Saturday night camping, and it was I've never been this cold in my life. It was hell. He decided at 1 a.m. to climb into my sleeping bag with me, and I've never been happier to have a kid climb into bed with me. I'm like, by all means, bud, you come right on in here. We'll trap that body. You got any helpful hints from me of all of your experiences?
I think you can't invest. There's no amount that you can invest more in just the electrical vest, sock, glove market is a game changer. It really is. I have the electric vest, and it does wonders. The keeping of the heart warm, all that stuff that people say is real. So I think that's where I would start with it. I don't have a lot of camping experience. My issue is mostly being comfortable, quote unquote, in a sub-freezing environment. More importantly, I would say in my world is how am I going to be able to talk? So that's where I thought you were going with this, because that's the big issue I have in these cold weather environments is I may be warm enough in my feet and my chest and all those things, but your jaw starts to numb up and then you sound drunk when they go to you, and it's brutal. So that's always my cross
Have you ever
to
talked to
bear.
them about the possibility of getting a headset for those types of games so you don't have to take your hands out of your pockets?
Oh, that's interesting. But it's not even so much it's just so what I've found is chewing gum when you're not actually on the air, the jaw's moving, and then you wear the full ski mask over your face so that your jaw stays relatively warm.
I've learned more.
Once that goes numb, you're donezo.
At Evan Washburn, of course, is how you follow him. Steelers Colts this week on CBS. Evan, you're the best, brother. Always appreciate you. Thanks for hopping on today.
Yeah, man. Enjoy the day. See ya.
That's Evan Washburn with us here on GCR. All right, why don't we do this? We'll break up picks recap and pats on the ass. We normally do picks recap first, right? I feel like today we could do pats on the. Well, you're not ready, are you? You want to do picks recap
I'm
and then
almost ready.
we'll do picks recap. We'll take a break. We'll talk some
I'm
baseball.
Like one cut away from
Well,
being
it's
ready.
fine. It's fine. Yeah, let's go over it. Picks recap for the week. Picks recap is brought to you by Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, Frederick, and Columbia. Played Sunday night tennis last night, and I'm telling you, peptide proteins. Normally I wake up on Monday and I feel like death. Today I woke up and I just said, okay, let's get on with the day. You might be low T, legitimately. Go get a free testosterone test at Game Day Men's Health. Get that answer. Know for sure. I thought I was. Turns out I was wrong. If you are, they've got treatment plans for you. If you're not, I still felt sluggish and run down. They had something in mind for me. Peptide treatment, and it's been great. You're dealing with ED or just performance issues in the bedroom. It might not even be full like ED. It just might be that, hey, what's going on? I don't understand. Men of a certain age, you deal with these things. Stubborn belly fat just won't come off. Give them a call, 443-264-4454 in Owings Mills. 443-266-3505 in Columbia. 240-931-3717 in Frederick. I can't get over the Navy thing. The Navy thing is really frustrating. It is infuriating. Navy beating Florida Atlantic, going away, beating the brains off them, just kicking their ass. And they're comfortably going to cover. There's just no problem here. There's no issue. Got nothing to worry about whatsoever. Enjoy. This is the way it's going to go. And sure enough, leading by 23 points late in the fourth quarter.
I stopped paying attention.
They
I was
give
like,
up a
all right.
touchdown drive. That's concerning. But keep in mind, Florida Atlantic's going for 2. They don't get it, so they're still up 17. All's good here. Nothing to worry about. Until Florida Atlantic recovers a freaking onside kick. Son of a bitch. You never see it. And, of course, it doesn't impact the game in any way other than those of us that had Navy. Ridiculous. This sucks, man. Jeremy Kahn, James Revere, Kyle Ottenheimer, Paul Valley, Ryan Shell, you should all feel terrible about yourselves. This Navy only wins by 10 because of the late onside kick and another touchdown for Florida Atlantic. We were all on Indiana, and we didn't have to sweat that whatsoever. Indiana drubs.
I was a little worried when it first started.
Were you? They drub UCLA, never competitive. Good news, Indiana comes to Maryland.
Oh, good. They'll be
next.
fat and happy, though, and
Good
Maryland's going to be
news.
hungry for a win.
Yeah.
I'd be worried if I was Kurt.
Tussle between Vanderbilt and Missouri. Ultimately, Vanderbilt wins by a field goal, and so most of us were on Vanderbilt, but Griffin wasn't. Neither was Jeremy
Bad week.
Kahn.
I had the worst week.
Did you?
I think I did. Yeah.
No, you had a.
Everybody had a good week except for me.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
Wow, everybody did have a good week. So I was like, as long as I go 5-4, I'm okay.
Steck and I both had 4 and 5 weeks, and that was the low mark. Yeah.
Well, that is not great news for me. It means 5-4 didn't make up any ground. Yeah, he was on Missouri. So was Jeremy, James Revere, and Ryan Shell. The Thursday night game, Chargers win comfortably. Andrew Stecca, Jeremy Kahn, and John and Little Rock were all on Minnesota. Buffalo, I don't know why I felt something about Carolina. I have no idea. Oh, I got bit by the hook. That's what happened there. The hook bit me.
Yeah,
The
it really did, didn't
hook brings you back. No, I mean, if that's a 7-point line, I'm probably on Buffalo. But 7.5, boy, that's just enough. Just enough. More bad news for the Bills. Ed Oliver out indefinitely.
Yeah.
They looked fine yesterday, obviously, as they won comfortably. Going away over Carolina. Never competitive. Andy Dalton, he and Kirk Cousins might be time to hit the old dusty trail.
Yeah, not like real quarterbacks.
So,
Like,
yeah, Joe Flacco.
Like Joe Flacco, who apparently doesn't have a defense now.
Did lose. Well, they didn't have a defense to begin with. They did lose
well,
the
they
Jets. But
did enough to beat the Steelers.
in fairness, he also got the ball back late. It's kind of shameful Like, you can say, hey, this isn't Joe Flacco's fault, and it's
Well,
not.
the Jets good ball club. Yeah.
No, they're not. He got the ball back.
No, they won. They're
plenty of time
they
to
won
get him.
yesterday.
Got plenty of time to go get a field goal and win the game. Didn't. San Francisco, Houston. I'll never understand it. I'll never understand anything about it. We didn't get to watch the game, so I don't know what happened. All I know is the moment I saw that line, I had to bet Houston because
Stroud was throwing to Jaden Higgins and
sure was.
Jalen Knoll
and Xavier Hutchinson.
Xavier Hutchinson.
Whatever, man. It worked. Houston wins. Covers is 1.5-point favorites. Only Jeremy and I. This is the terrible part. I went 5-4 despite the fact that I got that. I had a leg up on almost everyone, and I still only went 5-4 for the week. Dallas, Denver, never much doubt there.
Not even.
I know you were a believer in the Dallas offense. KZ was raving about the Dallas
Did
offense.
that guy
He
just
still
pick
does.
everything the same? Is that what happened?
That is kind of weird.
No, he had Vandy, I had Mizzou, and then he had Minnesota, and
You
I
had
had the
the
Chargers.
Chargers.
So.
Yeah, Denver wins comfortably in that one, easily covers the 3.5. Boy, you always bet Mike Tomlin as a home dog, huh? That's what you always are supposed to do.
Yeah, you're
Bet
supposed-
Mike Tomlin as
supposed
a home dog. Boy,
It's an expensive defense to let up.
it's possible.
30 points every
it's
week.
possible they just stink. Like, it really does become possible that like, there is a bottoming out. As funny as it is that we were panicked about the Ravens, while everybody's like, oh, the Steelers are sitting pretty. They're just going to coast to the division. It might be that the Steelers are the team that ends up bottoming out in all of this. Their schedule is tough. Tough, as Evan just brought up. They get the Colts next. Like, this is not great for the Steelers, and there is not a whole lot to like. And I kept thinking to myself, like, it's not just going to end like this, though. No, it really did. The fourth quarter, they had nothing to offer. After they were leading, I think, at the end of the third quarter. They had nothing. So, yeah. That was bad news for me, for Griffin, for Andrew Stecca, for Ryan Schell, Kyle Ottenheimer, and Joe Serpico. And the Ravens miraculously cover the 6.5, despite the fact that Lamar Jackson didn't play, which led the number to still. The Ravens were still favored, which was actually still kind of remarkable.
What did it close out? I didn't even
1.5,
check.
I think.
Oh, it
is
closed
where
at
it ended.
1.5.
Andrew, you, Jeremy, James Revere, Kyle, Paul, Ryan, and John Proctor were all on Baltimore. So for the week, high water mark 7
You're just
and
trying to go
2.
around. You're trying to go around saying I was on the Bears, aren't you?
Man, I was on the Bears. I absolutely was.
Hater, doubter.
That's exactly what it is. John Proctor, Paul Valley, big 7-2 weeks. Kyle Ottenheimer 7-2. James Revere 7-2, and is now 2 games in front of Griffin and Ryan Schell at the top of the table. Jeremy Kahn now 3 games back, 4 games off the pace. Stecca, John Little Rock, Kyle Ottenheimer. I'm 5 games back. That is bad news that I went 5-4 and lost ground. That sucks. As I am 5 games back. Joe Serpico 6, Paul Valley 7, John Proctor 8, and KZ currently sitting at the bottom of the table despite going 6-3 this week. Still 10 games back, 2 games back of John Proctor as our power bottom on the table. That's the picks recap. We'll do pats on the ass a little bit later, but we need to learn about the Orioles' apparent new manager. Guardians in-game TV reporter Andre Knott will join us next. Tell us about Craig Albernaz here on GCR.
Game day hits different with Live Casino's Big Plays, Big Pays hot seats. Head to Sports and Social on select Sundays and Mondays in October. We'll draw 10 hot seat winners every hour. When the home team scores, we'll double the prize pool. Plus, we'll give away $50 Sports and Social gift cards with every touchdown. Watch and win at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website costasin.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR. Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson will be talking about both the World Series and the reported new manager of the Orioles coming up a little bit later on today. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. That show will start at 5 o'clock. You can watch it live there. If you miss it, then you can check it out a little bit later on. YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, it's brought to you by the Costas Inn. The all-new Costas Inn is now open in Timonium at the grandstand. Everything you love about the OG Costas Inn on North Point Boulevard, with the only exception being if you want steamed crabs, you got to head to the OG. They're not doing that at the grandstand, but everything else, I keep telling you, one of the best cream of crab soups in town. The crab jalapeno poppers are out of this world at the Costas Inn. New one open in Timonium. The Orioles apparently have a new manager, as multiple reports have confirmed that they have finalized or are finalizing a deal with Craig Albernaz, who had been associate manager for the Cleveland Guardians last season. Joining us now to tell us a little bit more about what we should know about the Orioles' new skipper. He is the TV in-game reporter for the Guardians. He's Andre Knott, and he's with us now here on GCR. Andre, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's always good to catch up with you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Not a problem. Anytime you want to talk about anything other than the Browns, I'm all in with you,
man.
brother.
Look, I would say I feel bad, but until Art Modell's in the Hall of Fame, and I know that's a sore subject, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's a sore subject. I'm glad you brought that. It's a sore subject with a lot of people around me, but not all. Like, I'm not personally.
Okay.
But it's one of the, we'll do that conversation another time down the road, because I think it's a good one.
Andre, let's start broadly, because this was not someone that we had heard rumors about with the Orioles. We had heard nothing about them being interested. So when we all got this update last night, the first thing we kind of all said was, who? Because we don't know much about Craig Albernaz. What broadly do you think we should know about the Orioles' next manager?
Well, as soon as he opens his mouth, you'll know exactly where he's from. His voice and stature will jump out to you. He's a Boston guy through and through. But he's got a lot to him. And I'm glad you said the way you did, because 2 years ago when Terry Francona stepped down as the manager of the Guardians, one of the first names we heard was Craig Albernaz. And exactly what you just said to me is what a lot of us in Cleveland said. We said, who? And we did our research, and we came to find out that he was a career minor leaguer, but he made huge strides with the Rays, just in what he learned from the Tampa Bay organization. Then he went over to San Francisco, became their bullpen coach, and as you guys have kind of seen now, bullpen coaches seem to be one of the next steps to being a manager now because of what you have to do in a bullpen and how important bullpens have become. So we knew that information. Then as we got, into this, he became a finalist for the job with the Guardians. He came in, what we're told, second to Stephen Vogt, but what we didn't know at the time, he and Stephen Vogt were roommates way back when in the Tampa Bay organization and best friends. And really, for us, the last 2 years, it's been great kind of getting to know him because he's been a motivator of Stephen Vogt. They've been very open that they push each other during games. He would be the guy that would, kind of challenge Stephen Vogt on thought processes and things of that nature. I guess what I would say now that I know him, the things I would say out loud that you guys will pick up on and you'll appreciate early on. He's very enthusiastic, shows up being the same guy every day. When he likes you because he will, what's the best way I can say it? He likes to smack talk. He will smack talk you. But usually it's in a way of showing his affection for you. I think because he failed at the game a little bit and not making it to the majors, he understands how difficult the game is. So he's able to give that information to players in the most positive way, but also in a way of being very upfront and honest of why they get used the way that they are getting used. And that can be a tough thing in a major league dugout when a guy doesn't understand why he's getting platooned for, why he's getting pinched hit for. Craig was big on that. And the other thing I'll give, and I'll let you ask the next question, the one big thing, a key that he was great in the last 2 years, the last year of the Francona era, people were running and stealing bases left and right on the Guardians. He came in and making, 90 feet a big deal. He was great at stopping the run game of opposing teams and throwing out runners. It became a very important part, picking guys off at first and second. It became an important part of one of the better defensive teams in the last 2 years. So, and I give a lot of that credit to Craig Albernaz.
That's interesting. It's funny you bring that up because I did kind of wonder if maybe some of the hire was almost tied directly to the struggles of Adley Rutschman and how badly the Orioles need Adley Rutschman to be Adley Rutschman again. Now, that's both defensively and offensively, but you bring that up, and we've seen the video of him working with Joey Bart on pitch framing, and I can't help but wonder, is there a part of you that thinks that, maybe the Orioles do see serious direct value in Craig Albernaz and trying to get Adley Rutschman back to where they need Adley Rutschman to be for any of this to work?
100%. I don't know your guys' ball club the way you guys know your ball club. I know the names. I know the kid that got called up late in the year was a catcher.
Yep.
And yes, he's big on that. And he says it out loud. Now, I know if you look at Bo Naylor's just batting average, you would run away and go, oh man, that's not much. But defensively, if you look where Bo Naylor was 2 years ago compared to where he is today, it's night and day, no pun intended. And then, even a guy like David Fry, he made versatility a big part of it. We carried 3 catchers because he's big on it. Catchers take on a huge role from Craig, and they basically run the meetings to start series. He puts a lot on them. He expects a lot out of them. But I think because he played the position, and I think coming up with the Rays and being around the San Francisco Giants when he was, and now even being in Cleveland, being around Sandy Alomar, being around Vogt, your catcher gets a lot of pressure when Craig Albernaz is a part of your team. I think it's a good thing. The other thing I would say is because we're a young team, and I think you guys have a lot of young players too.
Very much so.
His enthusiasm, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. At first, when you saw his enthusiasm in dugouts and how he kind of has a nickname for every guy, always hyping a guy up before a game. At first, we kind of looked around and we were like, how long will this last? Because in the big leagues, we play 162. It's hard to, be up, for all 162 games, but he does, and he is, and he has a way of coming off like your biggest cheerleader, but also he has the same effect of when you mess up, you're going to talk to them and you're going to face them, and he's going to go, headstrong right at you about mistakes. And I think that's the one thing I appreciated about what he's done the last couple of years is he's your biggest fan when you do something great, but he's your biggest fan when you make a mistake, but he lets you know that the mistake was made and it has to be fixed.
Andre Knott is with us here on GCR as we're learning more about Craig Albernaz. By the way, I had reached out to someone I know in the Guardians organization, Andre, and it's funny because the text that I got was he's definitely got a personality that's very straightforward, almost to a fault sometimes, but there's not going to be a question of where the player stands. So I think that kind of backs up what you're saying. That sounds to walk right in line with what I had heard from the folks that I'd reached out to in the organization. One of the things that I thought was important in this hire, Andre, was that, and I think one of the reasons why a lot of Orioles fans were maybe a little bit down initially when they saw this news is we thought that maybe this required, given how bad things had gone a year ago for the Orioles after their 2 back-to-back playoff seasons, I think a lot of people believe that this job now maybe required someone who had high-level experience as a manager, who would be someone that could hold these guys accountable on day one. And I describe that as the big stick type of manager, right? Like someone who on day one, there would be a little bit of a fear of God and everyone would address that. Obviously, they didn't hire someone with high-level managerial experience. Albernaz hasn't managed anywhere but the minor leagues. But is he someone that can demand that type of accountability that these guys will respect on day one as they try to correct what's gone wrong?
100%. And I get what you're saying, but I also would say to everyone thinking that way, and look, I'm like you guys, but I'm around these guys a lot. I'm around these games a lot. I would say, look at what San Francisco did and who they hired. I think there's a different way of doing things right now because of how much information is out there right now. And I think for all of us, everybody has their own feelings about numbers and how to use them and when to use them and when not to use them. And to me, what I have seen in the last 3-4 years is that you can overload these young players with all this information, and you need someone that can break down and understand. Hey, Adley may be able to take all this information, but but Gunnar Henderson doesn't need to know all of that. So I'm going to give him, if you don't have a person that can break that down and understands all the numbers that are being thrown down from the top, I think you can get yourself in trouble. And I think you need someone that has played enough, but also understands what the hierarchy is trying to say, but get it to the players in the most easy, common way possible so they can go out and play and not think and be robots. And I see a lot of teams that play like robots at times, and you don't see players play with the energy and the athletic skill that they have. And I think for you, I get it, like with the division you guys are in and the players, the teams you have to play. But I think the thing with Craig is, he finds a way to be motivated to say, hey, whatever, deficiency we have, we will face it, we will know it, and then we will overcome it. And I give him credit for that. The energy, I keep going back to energy is the first thing I think of with him, because when he sees you hold your head down, whether it's me or whether it's his number one pitcher, he's going to find a way, to say something to get your attention, to be like, hey, let's go. We're at the ballpark today. Let's make it work. Now, the one thing I would say is that maybe they see it as, and I just thought of something. Here's one thing that will help them win from day one. Stephen Kwan and Adley Rutschman were teammates at Oregon State. Yep. And Adley it's probably the conversation we're having. I'm sure Kwan has given to Adley, talked to Adley about it, and told him, like, dude, this dude he's going to help you if you join in and listen to him and believe in him. So I think that's huge for them. And I think the young player aspect of it is, and I think, like I said, I really do think it's big to have someone that kind of gets it, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm 20 years into being around pro, teams, whether it be the Cavs, Browns, or the Guardians. And the landscape is changing in what a leader looks like, sounds like, and is. Like just a week ago, my dad, we're sitting watching NFL football, and he's talking to me and my best friend, and he goes, it feels like all these coaches are getting younger. And I'm like, well, Dad, we're getting older. and these players don't react the same way to what you and I reacted to. It's a different world, man. I don't know if you guys are dads. I don't know if you guys go to Little League. Dude,
you're right.
Bleep is different. It's different. These guys have grown up in a different era with social media and like, I sound weird saying this, but you actually do need a leader that understands all this other crap that's going on with these players that you and I and most of your listeners right now didn't deal with 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right about that, Andre. Let me go the other way with it, which is I think, and boy, I know this is just baseball now, right? Like we allude to the idea that the front office makes the decisions, and it's why some people argue the manager isn't really even all that important anymore. But I think it's one of the things that we wondered about with Brandon Hyde was it too much of just he's doing whatever he was told to from the top? And I think part of the reason why we were hoping in Baltimore for an experienced manager is it would maybe be someone whose personality was there to push back and to create more of a checks and balances system here, and to say, hey, look, man, my gut still needs to matter a little bit as much as the data does. Given what you know about his personality, do you feel like he'd be the type that would be willing to step in to the front office and say, hey, thank you for all this information, but sometimes I'm still going to I'm going to do what I think we need to do here.
Right. 100%. You go with your gut, right? You want a manager who goes with his gut, because the one thing the numbers don't do is tell emotion or tell like you just got a big strikeout and, the emotion says, don't take this guy out. I'll say this, the Guardians did a good job and Stephen Vogt did a good job of making him a part of almost all the meetings, almost all the decision makes that were made. And so, yes, he understands the numbers, but I also think because he and Stephen Vogt were big in the last 2 years of saying, hey, sometimes we got to go with this, sometimes we got to go with that. Don't get me wrong. All these teams, it's different now. All these teams have, analytical processes of who you should use to pitch against whom and this and that. But I also say this because I was blessed enough to be around Terry Francona for 10 years. There's only there's only a handful of the other guys, right? There's only and when you said that, like the old school guy that goes totally off the gut, that says thanks for the numbers. And I'm just being realistic about it. And after being around Tito listened to it. Tito, gave it a respect, but he also had enough cachet per se to say, hey, I'm going to roll with this, or I'm going to do this. I don't know if there's many more left. There's a guy in Texas who they just let go. There's Tito. Dusty Baker's not walking back in that door at 70 plus. There's not many of them. You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody now is kind of in that stage of you have to listen a little bit to what they're saying upstairs.
Oh, I think that's true. I mean, I think the question really is it going completely the other way, where does the manager's thought process matter at all, right?
Yes, I think it's a good question, but I'll go back to this. If your manager can't get that through to the players, it won't work because the players will question the hell out of, are you leading? Why are you doing this? You know what I mean? Like I think that's the part that some of these teams don't pay attention to. Yes, your numbers make sense, but if your players don't buy into it, you've got no chance to be successful.
I have no doubt. That is absolutely true. There's no question about that whatsoever. Andre, I know in San Francisco, Craig was involved with the bullpen. In Cleveland, they might not even need a bullpen coach because, my God, the bullpen's insane. But, was he involved at all, or was that not part of his roles there?
I would say it wasn't one of his roles, but he was involved in how they were going to use and how they would decide it. I think that's why I think all these catchers that are becoming managers, especially now, I think because they understand how to use arms and because bullpens are so important. And they talk about pockets. They'll bring up different sayings, and they're all about pockets now. Like, what pocket does this part of our bullpen fit against this team that hits? We played so many games with the Detroit Tigers over the last 2 years that our teams knew each other so well that it was almost boring. We would do the games and it was like, all right, their lefties are coming up, so we're going to bring in our lefty. And Craig was good at kind of pointing out hey, this might be a good time. It might be the sixth inning, and he may say, let's pinch hit, whomever, because this might be the time for us to go all in. And it threw us off. I'll tell you another thing that threw us off, and I'll be curious to know if this happens. We pull pitchers with 2 outs more than anybody else in baseball. And it drives it for a broadcaster. It drives you crazy.
Yeah. No, I get it, right?
But it was all about pockets. It was all about pockets and keeping relievers under 20, 25 pitches appearance so you could use them again. Just little things that I've watched with him, learning about bullpens, that don't be surprised if that's what they do in Baltimore.
Well, that is really interesting, and that is something that we will have to monitor moving forward. Andre Knott, thank you, sir. Appreciate you telling us something because, again, we didn't know anything. So really,
you'll like him. He's a lot, but he'll be interesting, and he's got a lot of energy. You'll like him.
He's gonna have to He's gonna have to overcome that accent here. That's that part. Yeah. That part is gonna be tough. But other than that, all we care about is do you win. Andre, thank you so much for taking the time for us this morning, man. We really appreciate it.
You got it. You guys take care. Have a good day.
It's Andre Knott, Guardians in-game reporter for their TV broadcasts. So, like everybody else, my initial was what? Who? Okay. And I did what everybody else did. I started, doing as much reconnaissance work as I possibly could and reaching out to folks that I knew in the organization. Give you the entire. This is my. It was only a matter of time before Craig would get the opportunity to jump, and I'm not shocked. It's the situation he'll be entering in Baltimore. He had a first-hand view of how to build and apply the analytics side of the game, while marrying that with allowing players to be themselves. He's definitely got a personality that's very straightforward, almost to a fault sometimes, but there's not going to be a question of where the player stands. He's going to do great things in a short amount of time if the support from ownership and Elias is there from day one. Remains to be seen.
And that's from Jose Ramirez?
No, it's not from.
Oh.
Don't start trying to do the thing where you try to ask. I'm not telling you who that's from. I will not be telling you.
Bo Naylor.
Anyway, so the point is, I didn't know what the only thing that I came away from last night, and some people got worked up about this on Twitter. I don't know if it matters or not, but it is a little weird to me. A little weird. His role in San Francisco was specifically with catchers and the bullpen. And in 2021, that means he worked with Buster Posey, who was catching for the Giants. Buster Posey needed a manager this offseason, and I get it. It might be that all along he was going to hire Tony Vitello. I think there's a story about a common friend they have. I don't know. But we know he went through the process, and we know he interviewed a number of candidates. We know he interviewed Vance Wilson. We know he interviewed Brandon Hyde. We know he interviewed Kurt Suzuki. But no one tied Craig Albernaz to being involved in the process for the Giants. Now, what does that mean? I have no idea. No clue. Maybe Craig Albernaz has some issue with the Giants or with Buster Posey or with somebody that played a role in why he wasn't interviewed or he didn't want the job and said, don't bother. I don't know. I don't know if it matters that Craig Albernaz wasn't interviewed by the Giants when they needed a manager and he had worked directly with Buster Posey. It might not matter at all. But it's weird, and I couldn't shake that it was weird, and that was sort of all I was trying to say. Like, maybe Buster Posey doesn't know ball. Maybe Craig Albernaz is the greatest manager of all time, and Buster Posey's a dope. I don't know. But that is weird to me. I couldn't shake that as I was diving in on the Orioles reported hire.
They actually they just made like literally 2 minutes ago.
2 minutes ago, it became official.
Yeah, so
right.
their Twitter account announced it, and all the reporters have it as
all right.
well. So it is official. He is the manager.
Congratulations. I hope it works out famously. I really do. But I don't know enough. And yes, I will tell you that I am concerned about the things that I thought were important in this managerial hire. And does this mean that I think it's a fair question to ask. Did Mike Elias only look for a specific type of manager that would just do what he wants and wouldn't offer any pushback? Fair question to ask. May or may not be the case. Again, that's just sort of what managers are. To Andre Knott's point, the last sort of bastion of managers that it felt like really made a difference are kind of all gone. Buck's out. Tito's out. Now Bochy's out. Dusty's out. Who is it? I mean, maybe Dave Roberts has earned that. It's a lot easier to do when you have, the Monstars at your disposal. But who is that guy? I don't know if that guy exists any longer. So, that's part of my thought process. Is that, and then does he demand accountability on day one and kind of strike the fear of God in a group of young players that need to be dramatically better? The argument that's made is that he might directly work with Adley Rutschman, and that would be a very good thing. They need that.
As well as the other catcher they just signed for 8 years.
That's true, but if he's going to be a catcher, and I don't know if that guy's going to be a catcher or not. If Adley Rutschman's around, there's probably a limit to how much he's catching. I don't know. But yes, he's probably going to catch at least somewhat. So hopefully that goes a long way with those guys. That's all I can say right now. Right now, that's all I can say. Because I don't know enough, but I appreciate the insight that Andre Knott had to offer. When we come back in, let's do Pats on the Ass. We'll do Tidbit, we'll do Tubular, and we will wind things down on a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, costasin.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Don Marcus profiles new Maryland Athletic Director Jim Smith, breaking down the challenge he faces in his new role and the unique background he brings to the job. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg takes an in-depth look at Orioles outfielder Dylan Beavers. And we meet college basketball players from all the programs around the state before the season gets underway. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region. And starting this month, you can find us at Baltimore area High's Dairy Store locations. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Game day hits different with Live Casino's Big Plays, Big Pays hot seats. Head to Sports and Social on select Sundays and Mondays in October. We'll draw 10 hot seat winners every hour. When the home team scores, we'll double the prize pool. Plus, we'll give away $50 Sports and Social gift cards with every touchdown. Watch and win at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we are winding down for a Monday edition of the program. It's been a while. We forgot that there was even another side to this board where we could put up.
Yeah, well, I think Glenn's like, how do we change
Pats on the
this?
ass.
I said, what are you talking about?
All right. We're allowed to do Pats on the ass sometimes. Pats on the ass. Brought to you this week by CountySports.Zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Everything you need to know about high school sports here in the state of Maryland, they've got you covered. CountySports.Zone, again, is the website. So you know the drill. I think you still know the drill. You pick 5 Ravens. 2 of them must be offensive players. 2 of them must be defensive players. The 5th can be another offensive player, another defensive player, a special teams player, or a coach who is most deserving of praise for their performance in the Ravens' victory. You rank them 5-1, with 1 being your man of the match. Which one of these is my pile?
The one facing up should be your pile. I don't know what order you had.
That's fine.
Mine should be in order, I think.
That's fine. I will go with number 5 as Nate Wiggins. It's weird because on the whole, I thought Nate Wiggins was kind of 50-50 yesterday. Early on, he was struggling mightily with Roma Dunze.
I agree.
But in the end, he made the biggest play of not only the game, but so far this season for the Baltimore Ravens. And I get that there's not a lot of choices when you've only won 2 games, but still, to this point, nothing bigger than that interception that set him up, because we all were feeling the exact same thing. We were all feeling the Ravens also still like to blow leads, and when you're punting from your own, when you have the ball at your own 39 or at the other team's 39-yard line, it doesn't feel good to punt. And you definitely start getting worried, like, are we going to look back on this, and this is going to be the moment? So thankfully, we don't have to think about any of those things. Thankfully, Nate Wiggins stepped up and made the play that needed to be made. And so because of that, despite his early struggles, it's good enough. He's on the list, number 5.
Yeah, he's gonna be much higher on my list. I agree that for the first couple of drives, he did struggle a bit, but then he definitely settled in. I'm gonna go with I went back and forth, thought about him as my number 1 for a minute. Pat Ricard's gonna be my number 5. It was obviously great to have him back, and his presence was felt for the limited number of snaps that he got. Obviously, it was going to be limited, just given how long he hadn't played. Did he play it all in training camp? I can't even remember. He did. Okay. So it flared up right before the season, but it had been almost 2 months since he was last on the field. So Pat Ricard comes in as my number 5, and obviously we all saw the big the first big block that he made coming out of halftime. Yes.
Yeah, he's number 4 on my list. It's amazing the difference that Pat. It's not even like they ran the ball brilliantly yesterday. They just ran the ball functionally yesterday. And Pat Ricard does make you – I think sometimes your offensive line issues just aren't as evident when Pat Ricard is in there as they are otherwise. So, yeah, Pat Ricard was number 4 for me.
My number 4, I'm going with our boy, and as I like to call him, Heart Attack Huntley. Tyler Huntley is my number 4. And just having a serviceable – quarterback in the backfield seemingly made all the difference, and I was still holding my breath every time he let the ball go, especially across the middle of the field. It just doesn't have kind of the zip on it that Lamar does. He doesn't have that arm strength, but he still has multiple. He did place it very well, but it still was coming in like significantly slower than Lamar was, so I'll still hold my breath.
Definitely not Lamar Jackson.
No, he's not Lamar Jackson, but he can run the ball. He just adds those things that Cooper Rush was so clearly lacking, and they really missed it. So Tyler Huntley is my number
4. He's higher on my list. My number 3 is Kyle Hamilton. Look, it's a shame that because that goes down as a penalty.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't. This is the bummer. Because that goes down as a penalty, not only does he not get the sack, but, like, there's other things that he doesn't necessarily get credit for about that play. That's a massive play in the course of that game, and one that appeared to be kind of off script. Now, I don't know that. It might very well be that it was always he was decoying to the right, and then the plan was for him to duck back into the quarterback. But it felt a lot more like he was supposed to be going to his right, suddenly saw that there was a path for him to get after Caleb Williams and said, hell, I'll go do that. But it's also just in general, Kyle Hamilton being all over the place, being available to do lots of different things. We were fairly dismissive of the return on the Odafe trade, but that was the one part that we kept coming back to, is their need to have another safety they could trust on the field in order to do the things they wanted to do with Kyle Hamilton. And so you can see that yesterday, and Kyle Hamilton was number 3.
Yeah, still, Alohi Gilman still has a few maybe spots that seem a little shaky. He's not our Darius Washington, but yeah, he allows you to let Kyle Hamilton be Kyle Hamilton, which is massive. My number 3, I'm going with Mike Green. It was obviously his best game as a pro so far. If
you're saying that just because, like, he didn't have a great game.
Did he? Didn't he?
No,
I mean, he had multiple pressures. He obviously comes away with his first career sack, and it's in a big spot on the opening drive. I mean, this was what we had seen the last 5 weeks. It was the team is just going to drive down and punch the ball down your throat on the opening series.
The play,
and they finally get a stop.
I'm worried that you're doing 5 plays for pats on the ass. Is what I'm worried.
Am I not allowed to do that? I mean,
well, there's a reason why we do 2 different segments.
Sure, but I think they kind of overlap. And if I am picking a play from this drive, it might be the one on the play before when they get the stop on second down and force them to have to run a third down play here. Mike Green. I mean, he had a lot more run as well. I think he officially played 80% of the snaps.
Definitely played more snaps. There's no doubt about that.
And I think his presence was more felt. So Mike Green is getting my number 3 here. He had officially a quarterback hits in there. I think he had.
I really wanted it to be a better on the whole day for Mike Green, but I did, as I am wont to do, I did go back and look and.
Yeah, to hit a TFL and a sack. So Mike Green is gonna be on my list here.
Again, as I said before, the league average for yards away from quarterback is 4.57. He was 5.6 yards away from.
You and your statistics.
I know. Look, man, I wanted it to be more than it was. I don't think Mike Green had a great day. I think he made a really important play, and we'll take that right now. But
it's
now,
not like he disappeared after that. He was still impacting the game from.
A little bit.
All right. Well, okay. So is Mike Green on the list, or is it just Caleb Williams sucks?
Well, that's the other thing too about the sack specifically is that definitely was a combination. But I'll live with that because it was third down, and you still have to make the play. Caleb Williams is keeping that play alive to give himself a chance to let somebody come open and get in the end zone. If that's a second down play, he's probably gotten rid of that
felt
ball.
like we'd been extremely hard on Mike Green, and deservedly so. Was he on both of our midway point season slaps? I know he was on my list. Mike Green's
was
going
saying
on.
this was an encouraging sign from Mike Green to do something.
Yeah. I'm encouraged by that.
He wasn't good enough for him.
I'm happy. I was happy with Mike Green's performance
he was
yesterday.
Not one of the 5 best Ravens yesterday, but he made a nice play.
I mean, yeah.
This
is a nice thing. It's like it was. There were multiple options. I think
I struggled between
Kyle Van Noy.
I struggled between number 2 and number 1. I really did. Ultimately, Tyler Huntley is going to be my number 2, and I think there's a strong argument for him to be number 1 because he did do exactly what they needed him to do yesterday. He wasn't brilliant. He wasn't otherworldly, but he did what they needed him to do. And, yeah, it was the best we've ever seen him throw the football. In fairness, I've never seen him throw the football well. And while, no, he doesn't drive the ball the way that a starting caliber quarterback would, and it's part of the reason why I don't want him to see, he definitely has tightened his motion up. It is not nearly as wonky and there's as much load in it as there has been in the past. He does get the ball out quicker. There are limitations to Tyler Huntley. I am not going to feel confident. Even if he has to play on Thursday night, I'm not going to feel confident. But he played well yesterday.
At the very least, it'd be a Dolphins revenge game for him. So I think it's not going to be all all bad if Tyler Huntley does have to start again. My number 2, I'm going with Kyle Hamilton here. He's just too good to really ever not be on the Pats list. So I'm going.
Jeff, you really left this guy off your list.
I mean, yeah.
They were. Is this just the I've decided I hate someone bit?
No,
this
I don't
guy
hate
was
Roquan
the best player
Smith.
on the field.
I don't hate Roquan. I mean, what? Kyle Hamilton was also on the field.
Hamilton was very good. Nobody's debating.
And so was my
Hamilton
number 1
very
player.
Good.
Was also on the field. So.
No, he was not very good for the game. He was.
He had
he made
the
a
final
very
3 quarters. He
important
was perfect. I mean,
he was not perfect.
Kyle
The
Hamilton
first
is my
quarter
number
still
2.
happened.
Nate Wiggins is my number 1.
This
I
is
love
your
this
worst
kid.
list yet.
My worst list yet. Jesus Christ. I mean,
he was not good in the first.
He was not good on the first quarter, and they ended up getting stops anyway at the very end.
That's not because of him. He got his ass kicked.
Okay, so why is he on your list?
Because he's number 5. Because he made the play is so important that I can justify him being.
I think he's so freaking good. I love watching Nate Wiggins. He really settled in. He really settled in afterwards. You're not even gonna let me talk about Kyle Hamilton. He really settled in afterwards. And Roma Dunze and DJ Moore were seemingly non-factors in the second and third quarter. And then he finally obviously got the biggest play of the game, the interception, and it makes you almost wonder, why are they throwing at him? Because the very next series, Caleb Williams comes right back throwing at Nate Wiggins, and he gets a breakup right after the interception series.
Throwing at him because he was getting his ass kicked is the reason.
In the fourth quarter, I'm talking about.
I understand that, but to suddenly say, he's made a couple of plays, we can't throw in his direction. I love that you're enamored with Nate Wiggins. This one is bad. This one's bad.
All right. I'll never put Nate Wiggins on the list again.
You can put Nate Wiggins on the list when he's one of the best players on the
He was one of the best players on the field yesterday.
Made a great play. He
made multiple great plays.
He also was getting his ass kicked.
Oh, my God. He's going up against one of the best receivers in football.
Nobody's debating that. It still happened. You don't get to say, well, it didn't happen because the other guy's good. Like, you have to be fair about it.
Did Rome Odunze? Rome Odunze didn't. He was open a couple times across the middle. He wasn't assigned to Rome Odunze the entire game either. I mean, it's like he's getting assigned the number one every single week, and once again, he passed the test with flying colors.
Not with flying colors.
Yes, he did. He got an interception that won them the game.
Keep making the point that he made a play.
Sure, all right, I'll go with the guy that has the most tackles next time. I'm sorry.
Not the guy that had the most tackles. It's the guy that had the biggest impact on the game.
I'll go with the guy that had the most tackles.
Roquan Smith was the best player on the field yesterday, without question.
It was really good to have him back.
Roquan Smith was outstanding, which doesn't mean that he's going to be that in every game, as he was that guy against Cleveland and wasn't that guy a week later. I have no idea what it means for Roquan Smith, but what I know is that yesterday he was the best player on the field. Well, Dunze might have still been the best player on the field. You got to think about who was the best player.
I don't think Dunze was the best. He was going up against the best player on the field. So.
He certainly was not doing that. Dunze might have been the best player on the field. I don't know. It's between he and Roquan. Roquan was awesome. He was all over the place. He was impactful.
Yeah, all right. Every time the team runs 15 times behind their guards, Roquan will be number one.
That's what happened. You nailed it. He just happened to be there. This is a weird bit, man. This is a really.
Well, he is the middle linebacker, but yeah,
he was excellent. I can't say enough about how good Roquan Smith was. Not that it's Bible, but I did just check to see what the PFF grades were.
Yeah, and how did you do?
Well, one of these two players was graded as a 90.7.
Okay.
The other was graded as a 64.1.
I guess Cal Hamilton was the 90.
No.
What did they give Wiggins?
64.1.
Wow. All right.
Because he was getting his ass kicked.
Pro Football Focus, they do know football.
I'm not saying they know everything. It's not Bible to me. I've said that abundantly.
What was his coverage grade?
I don't have that.
Okay.
I'm not a subscriber. That's how little it is Bible to me. This is just adding one more piece to the puzzle, which is they had Roquan. These were their top.
They're like, well, this guy didn't have a missed tackle, so he must have been the best player on the field.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah, this is a weird bit, man. This is a weird bit.
I mean, I'm not going war against Roquan Smith. I think they're a significally better team when he is playing.
It comes off like you have another statement that you're trying to make.
Well, I mean, if Roquan didn't play, Teddy Buchanan would have had 12 tackles. If Roquan was out, Teddy Buchanan would have had 12 tackles. I
think Teddy Buchanan had a really good game yesterday, too. I think they had a fairly good plan for how to use their inside linebackers yesterday. But Roquan Smith was delivering. He wasn't cleaning up. He was delivering. He was making plays. He was getting to where the ball carrier was. He was doing the things that you need an inside linebacker to do, and he wasn't getting his lunch eaten. Now, if you want to say, hey, the Bears didn't really target him in pass coverage and maybe it might have been different, if that had been the case, maybe you'd be right. But you can only judge the game that happened, not the game that you've imagined in your head. And on the whole, if you ask me how I feel about Nate Wiggins, I would say I think he's trending in the right direction. I think he's been low on the problem list for the Baltimore Ravens this season. I think he's been one of their better defensive players. And yesterday he made a hell of a play, but I can't pretend like the other things didn't occur. It was a bloodbath for him early on. I mean, he was, as Rita brought up, it was almost unfair that they kept giving him single coverage. And I do think that they finally shifted the coverage a little bit to help him out, and it's part of the reason why you thought it looked better as the game went on. In the end, he also made the play, which is why it's okay for him to make the list, because the play was so important that it does overcome a lot of that stuff. But pretending like Nate Wiggins was the best player on the field, eek. He was definitely not that. We can debate whether or not he was good. PFF said he was the 5th best defensive player for the Ravens yesterday.
I feel like the defense, I mean, they had their best game of the season. And
that or the Browns.
Because,
I'm not sure.
I guess that Browns game, sure. You can throw that one in there.
But again, that's a low bar.
Yes, exactly. But I felt like everyone played a pretty positive game defensively, and for that, and no one was glaringly sticking out. So it just that's why I kind of, to your point, kind of started looking like 5 plays with me, because I kind of went with the 3 guys on defense that seemingly were coming up in the biggest spots, in the biggest plays. So Mike Green with the big sack, Kyle Hamilton with the should-have-been sack, and then Nate Wiggins sealing the game.
Again, that's why we do 2 segments, is to try to make sure they're different and we're not just repeating the same thing. That's one of the issues that I had, and why we kind of got rid of 5 plays the first time, is because sometimes it felt like we were just doing the same thing 2 days in a row. And if that's what we're going to do, I have no problem saying let's get rid of the other one. I have no problem with that. I didn't want to bring it back. I don't remember why we brought it back.
Well, because you kept talking about it, and I was getting annoyed that.
Well, because I do think there's a line between. I think it's how you judge one play versus the entirety of a game, right? And again, for me yesterday, I don't think Nate Wiggins was really the 5th best player on the field for the Ravens. I don't think he was, but I think the play was so good that it overcomes that in a lot of ways. For what it's worth, their PFF's top offensive performance were not the guys that we had on the list.
I'm sure they gave Voorhees probably an 80.
No, Linderbaum was at the top of their
he was
list.
Good.
Linderbaum, then Flowers, then Ricard, then Bateman, then Huntley.
Where's Keaton Mitchell? They should have him higher.
Yeah, did not end up. It's a fair point. I mean, but the more could you ask Keaton Mitchell to do?
I mean, yes, just play more, but
I guess, yeah, right. But with the snaps he was on the field, maybe is there a minimum number of snaps that you have to be on the field?
No, they because you will have 1 snap and they will give you a grade.
That's a weird bit. But yeah, you're trying to.
I guess you're getting this aggregated from somebody else.
Yeah, it's from somebody else. I do not subscribe to PFF, so I'm getting this from somewhere else. Ryan Mink posted it, who the top graded players were. But yeah, you try to figure out a way to fairly judge the combination of things, right? And the combination of things for me yesterday was Nate Wiggins made an incredible play and had a kind of so-so game. I think he's better than that. I think Nate Wiggins, there's a chance that he could handle matchups with better receivers as the year goes on, maybe. But he was not handling it yesterday. It was kind of painful watching that. And again, give him credit for making in-game changes. We don't do that enough. They were getting, that was bad to start the game. And thankfully, again, they did not give up a touchdown on either drive, because I don't know what this game looks like if they fall behind by multiple scores. Knowing how much the Ravens panic, eek. I don't want to think about what this game might have looked like if they had given up a touchdown either one of those drives. We'll get it up at GlennClarkRadio.com. Those are our pats on the ass. Tidbit is brought to you today.
Yeah, vote for whose list is better.
No. We're not doing that. But get yours in, because somebody's going to win a Flock Yeah t-shirt just for participating. So get yours in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. All right, let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel.
Do we need to talk about the honest mistake? Or?
Oh, yeah, I guess we haven't talked about that. I said that yesterday in the postgame show. This would be a far bigger story if the Ravens lost. I don't even know if it would be a bigger story if the Ravens lost. Once the game happened, we kind of stopped caring about all the other things. John Little Rock said earlier, Harbaugh and company are going to cost the team a fine and possibly a draft pick. No excuse for their injury list violations and overall sloppiness. I'd be surprised if it was a draft pick.
Florio was talking about it on Football Night in America, and he also mentioned a draft pick.
Yeah, I don't know what the precedent is for that. That feels more like the trying to tie it to the NBA thing and feeling like the NFL has to come out strongly, and I feel like the team would be up for that fight. I think the team would be ready. I'd be surprised by it being a draft pick. Doesn't mean it can't be, but I just haven't seen, like, here's the example of this happening. And if you're tying it in with other things that John Harbaugh is trying to say something like, well, this is, remember when you had too many padded practices? This is strike I don't remember how many years ago we are from that. So I just don't know. I'm really struggling with where that would come from. Now, if somebody can point to me that this has happened before and there is specific precedent for a team making an injury report mistake and it costing them a draft pick, then the precedent is there, and I'll change my mind and say, yeah, it probably will. But I'm not aware of that, is all I'm saying. I've been wrong a million times before, and I'll be wrong a million times in the past, in the future. I don't find the explanation to be plausible. I certainly don't find it to be likely. I also can't say it's impossible. Like, is it possible? Now, I all think it's in the name of playing games. I think it's totally possible that John Harbaugh said, look, he was out here for the whole practice. Let's put him down there as a full participant in the name of playing games. He knew he was on the scout team. I think it is plausible that John Harbaugh doesn't know designation number 5 is if someone is doing reps, because he just doesn't think that much about it. To be fair, John Harbaugh doesn't write out the injury report. One of the PR members goes over to him and says, hey, I got to put injury report out for today. How are we doing this? Well, this so-and-so was so-and-so. We should list this guy. The whole thing. So is it possible that John Harbaugh specifically didn't know that you couldn't do that? It's not impossible. Does it make it okay? No. Do I care? Again, not really. I don't really care if the Ravens get fined. Like, if the rules are you get fined, but it might help your team, and I don't even know if it really helps your team, I think the teams would largely sign up to get fined. It's not my money. I'm not concerned. If they lose a draft pick, that would be a problem. But again, I just don't know how practical that is.
Right.
It definitely feels more like we think the NFL could try to make a big statement here. I think that's something they'd have to roll out. Send a league-wide memo. Hey, I want to make this abundantly clear. We got to be very serious about this. This happens again, it's going to be a loss of a draft pick. I think to do that now would seem I don't think that would work. In the end, I don't know. I don't really care all that much. And this is a weird spot to be in. The NFL is in bed with gambling companies. And in going in bed with gambling companies, they are sort of okaying the product. And if you're okaying the product, then the questions about fraud are going to be real. If you know Lamar Jackson's not playing, and the Ravens can always hide behind, there was still a chance up until Saturday that Lamar Jackson could play. We were going to make a final decision on Saturday. Do I believe that? I don't think I do. I think they knew. I think there's a reason Lamar Jackson, if he was working the entirety of practice.
Tyler Huntley says he didn't know until Saturday. But
yeah, well, I mean, again, they might have internally said we're not gonna choose until Saturday. But if they specifically only had him working with the scout team on Friday, I do think that kind of tells you what you need to know. If there was a real chance he was playing, you'd have him work with something. You wouldn't just have him working with the scout team. But they can always say that. They can always say, we thought there was a chance up until Saturday that he could play. And it wasn't until Saturday that it was definitive, no chance. I think we're going to get lost on this, and we're going to try to find moral high ground. A lot of times this is a smoke but no fire type of thing. This goes back to like last week and everybody wanting to blame like Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups get busted, and this is what happens when these leagues start working with the gambling companies. You don't have to like gambling. You don't have to like any of those things. But we're trying to draw association between things that just isn't there because of what we like or don't like. We're annoyed by how many gambling commercials are being run. I can only take so much Kevin Hart in my life.
Some of those are funny.
One of them was funny. The rest of them are just meh. Which, to be fair, is Kevin Hart, right? Like, 1 out of every 20 times, he's really funny.
Jeez, rant at Kevin Hart now, too?
He just decided to do too much. When you
Man.
oversaturate the way he has, you can't be that funny every
Man,
time.
don't try to be a success story in front of Glenn Clark.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, I like nothing that's popular. Everybody knows that about me.
Yeah.
Nothing that's popular.
Clearly.
You're frustrated about that. I do think that gambling companies often try to paint everybody's a winner, and we all know that's not the case. But we're also adults that make our own choices. I do have a bit of an issue with this. Like, this is where the libertarian in me really does come out. And I'm not a libertarian, but I can be a libertarian in these moments. Because we are responsible for our own actions. You chose to bet on the Ravens game despite not knowing if Lamar Jackson was playing or not. That's your choice. You know, it was easy for me to do. Yes, we did it for our silly game. But you know what? I didn't do anything with my money last week. I didn't put it on the Baltimore Ravens game because I didn't know if Lamar Jackson was playing or not. That's a choice you can make. So we get very caught up in this, and like, this is the obligation. The Ravens have to do it this way. The NFL has to do it this way. I don't know. Because it's very difficult to prove. It's incredibly difficult to prove that the Ravens knew definitively that Lamar Jackson wasn't playing in this game and purposefully misled bettors, purposely misled the league, whoever would be the aggrieved party, whoever would attempt to sue. And
Right, like it'd be the Bears, right? Like I guess like they would be like, well, we thought Lamar was healthy, but I think someone did ask Ben Johnson about it, and he was just like, we're it doesn't matter.
But this happens all the time, that you think somebody's going to play and then they don't play. Guys who aren't on the injury report all week suddenly on Friday aren't going to play. Like, this happens in the NFL. I don't know. The aggrieved party would be the people who said, well, I bet, ironically, if you bet the Ravens, then you won your bet. So I'm not really sure what your anger would be. I don't know who the aggrieved party is here. You could say it's the Bears, but again,
this is it's no different than any other.
That's anybody who gets listed as questionable on a Friday.
So will they get fined just because of the magnitude of the player?
They'll get fined because of the specific nature of the mistake. The specific nature of the mistake is you knew he didn't. It's like part 5 of the rules of the injury report is if a player works with a group that he wouldn't usually be working with because of his injury, then he is to be listed as limited. They'll get fined because they listed Lamar Jackson as a full participant on Friday when him working with the scout team should have made him limited. And factually, they got that wrong. So they'll get fined over that very specifically. The Ravens, under John Harbaugh, have gone into gray areas before. Now, they also haven't, that we know of, filmed other teams' practices or deflated footballs or anything along those lines.
Give it a shot.
Might want to think about it. And by the way, all those teams got to keep their Super Bowl titles, so it's just hard for me to get all that worked up about.
Wonder what the Chiefs have been doing.
Yeah, I got some questions about that. I definitely roll my eyes. I definitely roll my eyes about all of it, but you can't get me to care. I care about whether or not they win. They won yesterday, so I don't give a rat's ass about any of the rest of it. Let's figure out a way to win.
Film as many practices.
Yeah, 100%. Do whatever you got to do.
Deflate as many balls.
Cheat. Just openly cheat.
Fake crowd
bang on
noise.
trash cans. Do the whole thing. Everybody take steroids. I don't mean any of that. I don't want you to do that. But just win.
You said it. If they win.
Just win. Just win. They won. So I just can't get worked up. I'm going to roll my eyes. Am I going to believe anything that John Harbaugh says about Lamar Jackson this week? Nope. Not a word. Whatever he says about Lamar Jackson this week, I'm not going to believe it. Period. Because he's not. But to be fair, that's what we all should do. I got nothing else on it. Is there anything else that needs to be said about?
I guess not.
If they get Dr. Draft pick, that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Somebody would have to point to me the precedent that's been set that they can be losing a draft pick. It just very much comes off of we're trying to get attention off of this NBA thing. And so we're going to try to make this. There's been a lot of people that have tried to draw a correlation between the two. Well, this is a bad look for the NFL coming off the heels of the NBA. These two things have dick to do with each other.
Whoa.
Nothing. We just want attention. They don't. Now, if in general what's going on with the NBA makes the NFL say, we've got to tighten up, then they'll have that conversation. But pretending like this has anything to do with anything that happened last week is just, this is what's in our brain, so we want them to have something to do with each other, and we want attention, and we want to make things seem a bit more dramatic. Tidbit is brought to you.
John wants to know your thoughts on the LSU.
I mean, definitely never seemed like a fit. Like, there's no... Brian Kelly never seemed to be somebody that was comfortable at LSU. Never seemed to be the case. But
what do you mean? He had the little Louisiana accent going from a northern.
the best
South
tweet I
Bend,
saw all weekend was like Brian Kelly during his upcoming UCLA interview, and it was like an interview of a surfer from like the news, and he was like, "Yeah, bro, I was just hanging 10." Never seemed to fit. But this is the problem. Like, I'm not saying they shouldn't have fired him. Like, fire all these coaches. You're paying an ungodly amount of money for this.
Oh my God, he's getting more than
James Franklin. But what I would tell you is the thought that like your next hire is definitely going to be better. I don't know, dude. I have no idea. Like, there are so many job openings, and there are not that many great candidates. You're just hoping you happen to get the one. And I would think that Sumrall would be particularly like a good fit there, given where he is now, but that's not sexy enough. We've got to hit a sexy hire.
Well, there are none. Yeah.
Tell me who that is. There's one.
Jay Franklin.
Yeah, no, that guy, the one, appears to not be leaving. So, who's the guy that's...
Clark Lee's getting more and more, but
right.
yeah. But
right.
yeah. Lane Kiffin, obviously,
that's
every SEC
what
team.
Lane Kiffin, who's never won anything.
He's won game. Now he's won a game on the road.
Thank you. That's a great point. He's won a game on the road. Lane Kiffin has never won anything of significance, and that's where we are. That's the sexy hire. Florida's going to go all out for Lane Kiffin, and it might very well be a good hire. It might be, but
Nick Saban, he's available.
He is. He keeps saying, "I'm not doing it. I'm out." Also, why would he want to be anywhere that isn't Alabama? Like, imagine leaving Alabama and then being like, "But you know what would be better?"
LSU.
I mean, he's been it. He's actually won a national championship at LSU, so.
What if we get the two fields in the SEC are now Saban Field after he goes back to LSU and wins a natty there?
He's already got one at LSU.
Wins another. So they have to name the field Saban Field again.
Sure.
It's Saban Field in Tuscaloosa.
Sure.
Saban Field.
Print issue of Press Box is available. Jim Smith. Maybe he'll get Nick Saban. Maybe that'll be.
Ooh. Jeez, wow, you're calling for.
No, I'm not. I'm not. But it doesn't feel good.
Oh wait, you're saying you're not?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, not.
Just one knot. Not a double knot.
Maybe we call Andre Knott?
No. I'm Andre Knott calling for that. Not at all. But it just don't feel great at the moment. That's all I know. Jim Smith on the cover of this month's print issue of Press Box. It's available for free at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. That's the new home for Press Box. Great cover story from Don Marcus. Also lots of college hoops in this as we get ready for the season, which starts 1 week from tonight. Go pick it up for free today at your neighborhood Baltimore area High's Dairy store. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com.
So Packers quarterbacks to go 360 passing yards, no interceptions, no sacks. Take 0 sacks in the game as well. Only 3 have done it.
I mean, is it Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, and Bart Starr?
No, not Bart Starr.
No, is it
Jordan Love last night?
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was on top of Jordan Love last night.
No, sorry. Yeah, sorry. 3 total now. Yeah, I guess maybe we have to look back. Yeah, when did Bart Starr was post 1970, right?
Yeah.
These stats are since 1970. Yeah, so I don't think Bart Starr is on there. Other things. Yeah, I guess I didn't have a whole lot else. Myles Garrett. 5 sacks yesterday against the Patriots, leading the Cleveland Browns to only a 20-point loss.
Yes, blowout loss.
He had 5 sacks on the season entering the game, and he picked up 5 alone against the Patriots. Do you know who has the record most sacks in a game?
I don't.
He was a 1990 Kansas City Chief.
Derek Thomas.
had 7 sacks against the Seattle Seahawks.
Maybe I do remember that.
And then there's 5 guys that have 6 sacks, but they're
5 guys.
Like
with
there's
Junior
some random names in there. No, there's a Charger though.
It's a Charger.
Did it with the Chargers. He's still on the Chargers.
He's still with the Chargers currently.
Did it 2 years ago.
Khalil Mack?
Yep, Khalil Mack had 6 sacks against the Raiders in 2023.
All right.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
All right.
Sorry, Derek Thomas is one of them. So there's 4 guys that have 6 sacks in a game. 1983 San Francisco 49er. I'm not sure if I can give
83.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can give any hints for him. He played on the San Diego Chargers and then the San Francisco 49ers.
Is that Fred Dean?
It is Fred Dean. Well done. Fred Dean had 6 sacks.
He's a Hall
in
of
a game.
Famer. Like, I mean, that's
Yeah, but it's, an 07 Giant.
It's Strahan.
No, not Strahan. Who was the other one?
So that's before Tuck. That's OCU Minora.
Yep, OCU Minora.
Okay.
Had 6 sacks in a game. And
They really did have quite the run there.
Yeah,
like Strahan, Umanora, Tuck,
This was the Super Bowl team, I
Pierre
think,
Paul. Like they had quite a run of.
And then in 2017, an Atlanta Falcon did it.
I don't know that I could name it.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot for him either.
It's not John Abraham.
Nope. He started with Tampa, then he went to Atlanta. He was on Atlanta's Super Bowl appearance team.
Man, I don't know.
I don't even know when he was. Adrian Claiborne.
Oh yeah, I mean I vaguely remember Adrian Claiborne.
Yeah. He had 6 sacks against the Dallas.
He could have been here for a little while. I don't know that I would have come up with it.
2 Ravens players have 4 sacks in a game.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the most in a game.
I mean, I guess it'd be stupid to not say Suggs.
Terrell Suggs only had 3.
What a loser.
And he did it like, I don't know, like 8 times.
Pathetic loser. I guess it must have been
2,
early
3,
on
4,
because
5,
I don't like.
6.
It wasn't. I don't remember Dumerville.
6 times
doing it.
did Suggs have 3 sacks.
Pretty good. Boyer.
Yes, Peter Boulware,
Okay.
4 sacks.
And was the other one early on too?
Yes.
McCrary.
Yep, Michael McCrary, 4 sacks in '98, 4 for Boulware in 2002.
How do I not remember that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
3 guys had 3.5. McCrary was one of them. 2 other guys had 3.5.
Dumerville
in 14, and then 2001 against the Titans in Tennessee.
2001.
He wasn't. No, he did. Did he play? Yeah. Okay, he was an edge rusher.
What?
I was.
I mean, because it's mostly the same guys that were on the 2000 team, and I just can't think of anybody else that would have been. Jamie Sharper.
Sharper had 3.5.
He wasn't really an edge rusher. He was more of a edge setter. I just don't remember that. But all right, very good, very good. Let's get Tubular. Tubular is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. No Ravens this Sunday. Just park yourself at Sports and Social all day, watching football, having a great time. Live Casino and Hotel. Busy night tonight. Obviously, Game 3 of the World Series as the series shifts to Los Angeles. Tyler Glasnow against Max Scherzer in the Blue Jays. It's on Fox.
Yamamoto, man.
They list the start time as 8 o'clock. Have the games actually been starting right?
I think
at 8
they
o'clock?
have. I think they start within 10 minutes of.
Yeah, but that's different. Like in the rest of the series listed like 8:08 as the start time. This time they're listing the start times at 8 o'clock.
Oh.
And I don't care enough to check, but it just doesn't seem like that's right. It seems like there's no way the game is starting right at 8 o'clock. Monday Night Football is on both ABC and ESPN, and there's a Manning cast because you got to have it for Marcus Mariota, baby. Commanders-Chiefs, 8:15. The Commanders do get Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel back, but unfortunately they do not have Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, killing me. Well, Drake May's been pretty good. It was my backup, so.
And an exhibition tonight on Big Ten Network Plus, Maryland basketball. If for some reason you have Big Ten Network Plus, I don't know why you would, but if you do, you could watch UMBC take on Maryland in an exhibition tonight at 7. Everything else you can find at glennclarkradio.com. Non-sports.
Tucker Kraft was huge for me last night.
Sure was.
Any chance Rashee Rice and Zach Ertz don't score 13 points?
Seems unlikely. I am in the dumb league. I'm playing you, and I still have a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, well, because Jerry Jeudy didn't do squat. Sterling Shepard got like 1 target. So I didn't So not looking too good for me against you. I think you're going to be okay because you have – who do you have? I don't know who you have left.
What's that?
I don't know who – you have Xavier Worthy and Bill, and you're down by 20. I think you're going to be okay.
I think I'll be okay, but I could also switch in Terry McLaurin still.
Oh, you could?
And I haven't decided if I should or not.
Yeah, what do you do?
I don't know.
What do you do there?
I messaged Joe and Ken about that yesterday, and they were like, I mean, I guess you could put him in for Wandale, but I don't know. I'd probably stick with what you got.
Well, why did Joe and Ken tell me not to start Jerry Jeudy?
Oh.
I should have played Emmanuel Wilson over Jerry Jeudy.
Yikes. All right. We good?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Nothing. Very good. Thanks to thanks everybody. Thanks today to Andre Knott. Thanks also to Evan Washburn. We'll get that up in the greatest hits section of the
Lindsey Vaughn and James Corden will be on
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Wait, James Corden's going to be on. Oh, he doesn't do a show anymore.
Yeah,
Why am I
he's got
pretending?
like a podcast now.
Forget him. Tomorrow on the program, the regular Tuesday stuff. Bo Smolka joins us. Joe Serpico will join us, and Stuff and Things. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, Nick's Fish House, the Costas Inn, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go nobody. Duke sucks.